this is inescapable. We've all got our problems in life. We've all got our struggles, and our struggles feel like they are more or unique or somehow more important than what everyone else faces. And the reality is that everyone struggles, everyone's got their things, and the more you're trying to achieve, it's likely the more you have to overcome. So I've been reading biographies for a long time, and it's inescapable, this reality that the winners of life, and I'm not saying achievement is the only way to win life. It's just not. You can live a great life by choosing to opt out of certain games and play the games that are important to you, the family game, the spiritual game, whatever. But if we're talking about achievement and if we have our goals, it is inescapable that the ones who win are the ones who revel in stress, not just deal with stress, but give me all of that. Give me the fucking most stressful things you could possibly think of, and that's what I want to take on because I want to achieve something that most men won't even aspire to achieve. And most often than not, when you look through these great men, it's not a big plan or a master plan or anything like that. It is simply dealing with individual circumstances, making the best of them, winning this little battle, and then moving on to the next one. And you see an arc in their life where each battle won propels them to a new stage in life. But the reality is they all go through the worst shit and they overcome the worst circumstances. There are more books. I look at my library right now. I could have added a lot more in here. So we've got Titan, John D. Rockefeller, born to a horrible dad, basically started providing for his family at a very young age. Didn't set out to take over the financial world, I guess. Didn't set out to take over oil, but simply made a series of good decisions and took on a lot of risk. But he was born into a horrible circumstance, extreme poverty, no dad around. His dad was an absolute scumbag, and he overcame all that. Let's skip to Genghis Khan. Sold into slavery, got out of slavery, escaped, ended up taking over a tribe, which ended up taking over another tribe, took over another tribe, and took over the known world at his point. Cinderella Man, one of my favorite books and stories of all time. Was a promising fighter, broke his hand a bunch of times, had injuries, the Great Depression came on, couldn't get work, couldn't get anything, got a lucky fight, or got offered a fight after losing for a long time, ended up winning that fight. It's in the book too, but the most powerful part of this was he took government assistance back in the day when that was a shameful thing to do, and then he returns that money later in his career when he wins it back. But talk about a guy with kids, out down on his luck, life had no prospects, but just kept fighting, kept moving forward. Okay, Napoleon Bonaparte, great book, another one, The Rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. Born into a country that was conquered by the country that he eventually became the emperor of. So he went to school with guys who were like the rich kids or born into status. This is at a time when, oh man, I forgot another book. I'll add this to the list just off whatever. But he was born into a time when status was everything. This isn't free market. Like John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, they like Andrew Carnegie was born, was an immigrant, came to the country with nothing, ended up building an empire. They at least had the free market. Like we have a shadow free market now, but they at least had the free market. Napoleon was born into a time when status was everything. You are what your parents are, essentially. He was reading and studying while everyone was drinking and partying, and he had a distaste for these people that were given their place in life and didn't earn it. Theodore Roosevelt's an interesting one because he was born actually into wealth, but he was born sickly. He didn't have the desire to follow the path in life that was set out for him. He ended up being a rancher, a hunter, an explorer, president. This was a guy that was after adventure. He's a war hero. He wanted that action. And he could have easily just followed the laid out path for him, which is why I like Theodore Roosevelt, because he overcame a lot, but he took on a lot that he didn't have to take on, which was inspiring. He took on things. So he took on adventure. He wanted adventure. He wanted to explore and fight and do all that. So that's why he's inspiring. The Fish and the Whale is another great book of a Russian immigrant to America who ended up taking over one of the biggest industries in the world at the time, which was bananas. So came from nothing, dirt poor, found a little hole to make a bit of money, and ended up conquering countries, essentially. Okay, Caesar is another one I should have added to this. Caesar was born into a family that had lost its prominence. As a young man, he got captured by pirates, somehow got out of it, somehow got an army, went back and slaughtered the pirates. And then became a general, he became a governor with no military experience and dominated. He was a great military leader. And then went back to Rome, wanted to go back to Rome and live out his life, but there was signs that he would be assassinated or killed or whatever. So his life was just a constant bad case scenario, solve it. Bad case scenario, solve it. The point of all of this is no matter how many biographies I read, it's just men dealing with massive amounts of stressful events, and I wonder if they place the stress that we place on these events. Like, these events that these guys go through are much more stressful than anything you or I would be engaged in. And it seems like the way to live isn't to handle stress. It seems like the way to live is to fucking want it. To want this stressful event, take it on because you're a man and you freaking work your ass off, you fight, you claw your way through it, and you do that as a matter of pride and what, like, the crippling stress that so many guys feel, job loss, all these different things we go through. We have to turn the narrative into back to the man up thing. And I'm not like, I don't know. It is a man up thing. We've lost that where we were just expected to deal with this. We're not looking for acclaim for handling the stress. We're not looking for a pat on the back. Like, we want that stress. We want these battles in our lives because that's living. That's solving problems. That's seeing what we're made of. That's the test that allows us to gain character and courage. And we don't cheat. We don't look for an easy way. We go at it and we fight and we try to, win these battles that each individual faces, no matter how great they achieve or even if they just live a good family life. We're going to be faced with these things that seem like our back is against the wall and there's no way forward, there's no way upward, but we just give it enough time, enough effort, enough struggle, and we genuinely thrive in these stressful events without placing that stress on them. We detach from the event and we don't apply these fear, worries, whatever we place upon them. It seems like that's the best way to live. And that, to me, is what the man in the arena is. And the more I read history, the more I read biographies, the more that is affirmed. It doesn't mean everything's going to always work out, but if something doesn't work out, it doesn't mean you stop. You just keep going. You fucking ask for that shit some more. You ask for that stress, that danger, that daring, that unease, that worry. Ask for those things. Don't shy away from them. It seems like that's the best way to live. And with that, I hope you got something from this.